Okay. Greetings. This is a Vespa. This is a plate reverb. The only thing that they have in common is they make noise and they're made of metal. We're not going to be fixing up the Vespa today, but we will be patching up the plate reverb and getting that to work. Every time I use it, it has to be tuned up as if it was a guitar. So you can imagine that whole metal plate there as if it was a guitar string. And the way we pluck the string is by sending an audio signal physically to the plate and then picking it up with microphones and then digitizing it, of course. So you may be able to see here, oh yeah, it's very low, but here's a little bolt, right? There's a bolt that I have attached to the plate reverb, and on the other side of it is what's called a driver. It's basically a speaker, but the driver moves this back and forth, right, a little bit, and then I have two microphones, a piezo and an electromagnetic pickup, sort of like a guitar pickup. So it's a coil with a magnet, and the other one is a piezo, which costs 50 cents. And the coil that I made was also just from some surplus stuff. So what happens is I send a signal in from the mixer, and so here I have a little mixer. I send a signal in, and then I send my two pickups back into the mixer because we need preamps. You always need a preamp with a microphone because the signal level is really low. So preamps, and then I go into this little guy. I have two of these actually. Well, I sold one to a friend of mine. This Cymatic 16-channel digital interface. It's wonderful. You can't get them anymore. Now you just get the 24-channel ones. But I love this one. Particularly because, okay, I can connect my computer to it, my laptop, but all I really need is just a USB stick. So I can record 16 channels of audio straight to a USB stick. I usually only record between 2 and 8 channels because the USB stick can vary in speed, so something to keep in mind. But I'm just going to get 2 channels, right? I got 2 pickups on my plate, and so I only needed to do a 2-channel recording. So this is something you could do with a very simple, inexpensive external audio card. And in theory, you could do it straight into your mini jack on your computer. You will need a preamp, right? And so this mixer is functioning as the preamp. So I was talking earlier about the driver. And so this is my driver. It's basically a speaker without the paper that I glued my threaded rod to so that when the speaker goes in and out, it actuates the plate. So this guy here, jack, mono, and just tip sleeve, goes from the speaker, goes from the mixer where I'm going to do my playback, the thing that I want to capture, and then it goes into this speaker. And just like a speaker, it makes the plate move instead of a piece of paper. Okay, so this is the pickup, one of the pickups. This is the coil and magnet pickup. So I have taped here to the metal plate, which is inox, so it's not magnetic. I have taped a magnet to it. And then here I have a coil and another magnet and a nail. Basically, it's just a iron rod with a magnet at one end and some wire wrapped around, and that then is picking up as this moves back and forth. As this moves back and forth, it's going to create an electrical impulse on the coil, and then I send this to the mixer with this XLR. So this is actually balanced theoretically. Theoretically, homemade balanced microphone. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, so I got the mood lighting on here. Yeah, I'm not wearing my scarf. The wife said, John, it's really time to wash the scarf. I mean, there's diseases out there and stuff. And I said, okay, the scarf, but not the hat, not the hat. I'll wash the hat eventually. Okay, so just a little, I made up a quickie little diagram to explain a little bit more in detail, diagrammatically, um, how I have my plate set up. Okay, so I'm just going to hold this in front. I think that looks okay. I think that looks all right. So what I got here is the driver. Whoops, up. Backwards, everything is in the mirror. The driver. So that's my speaker. Here's my plate. My plate is actually suspended here. Maybe I can move closer. Yes. Driver, which is a speaker. This is my plate. My plate is then suspended inside of a frame, and then that whole frame is suspended inside of another frame. So you can just hang it from you in a doorway or something like that temporarily. But this one is, pro, and so it's on wheels and I can move it around, but it's actually too large to get down into my actual studio, which is why I keep it in the lobby. And so when I'm running plate reverb, I usually don't do it live. Uh, I do the plate reverb at night when nobody's around and it's quiet, because it's a microphone, so any ambient noise sound in the room is gonna get picked up by the plate, which can be interesting and unique. And so this is sort of the way it's hung. And here is one pickup that would be my magnetic pickup, and here is this piezo pickup. Now I showed you on the video earlier the magnetic pickup, and I'm going to make a diagram of how that works. But I also have on one side this little guy. It costs about 50 cents to make. And in other videos, and you'll see I talk about piezo microphones, and I show you how to make one of these with a mini jack cable, and you can do better than mini jack, you can. And so this is the second pickup on the other side of the plate. So I have two signals coming in to my plate. I have one signal going to it, that's the speaker driver, and then I have a pickup and another pickup. So one of them is electromagnetic, like a guitar tuner. Not like a guitar tuner, like a guitar pickup. It's a coil and a magnet. And the other one is pressure. That's the piezo. Okay, next little diagram, which is the magnetic pickup, sort of in schematic. So I got my plate here, and glued to my plate I have a magnet, and then mounted to my framework I have another magnet attached to a nail that's inserted into a tube that has a coil of wire, that then the two ends of the coil of wire go to my jack, which then go to the preamp and the recorder. So as I drive my sound with my speaker, or just yelling at it, or tapping on it, or getting some guys with saxophones to play straight into the plate reverb, which I've done, it's very interesting. The plate moves back and forth, chink, moves back and forth, which then moves the magnet back and forth, obviously, and then the other magnet moves in and out of the coil, which generates an electrical impulse that then goes to my jack, which then goes to my preamp, which then goes to my recorder. It's really very simple. Back when I was in school, we made telegraphs with a nail, some wire, a battery, tickety tickety tick. You could. It's the same principle. It's just, and it's a very old principle, and it's really really effective, and it's forever in use today. So this is referred to as a generator or a dynamo, right? Because it's generating an electrical signal. Same thing that you would find at the Hoover Dam, except much much smaller. and again, what's driving my plate is basically a speaker. It's anything that gets that plate moving back and forth to create this magnetic differential, which then creates a voltage. that goes out to my preamp and my recorder. Simple as that. And you can make this with almost anything. Almost anything.